Hey, what's going on, guys? August 18th here, Friday. Hope everyone's had a great day today. Man, oh man, what a crazy day. What a crazy week. We had a ton of stuff happen this week with the tape kind of just shifting midway through the week. Pretty much leading into that, though, a lot of this was just low volume retests, it felt like, until Wednesday, Thursday, where a lot of these daily slash weekly levels just got melted through like butter. And it left a lot of people really questioning what they wanted to do. If you stay true to kind of your system and not really giving into the narrative on Twitter or wherever it may have been, congratulations, it paid off today. And I really wanted to just emphasize that, right? Not giving into what other people's mindsets are or their biases. Just stick to what you know, right? Trade the chart that's in front of you. And with that, I wanted to go over NVIDIA. This was about a 1,000% play, and I'm not kidding. This was a massive, massive day. I ended up making up for all the losses yesterday and then some, and I wanted to just review it and go over why I took this trade. So starting with this, I have it in replay mode. You guys can obviously see that. I want to just have you guys answer this question. Is there anything that stands out with this chart, right? Don't look at patterns. Don't look at anything crazy. I want you guys to look at the bar by bar, right, and look at volume, okay? Hopefully you guys had enough time, right? The first thing that should stick out was this higher low here, which was defended by this bar. But this bar is pretty big, right? This was about 50 points, and then I think 10 points extra in after hours, so about $60. Volume wasn't super crazy for something like that, right? This bar here was way less, a higher volume. So we want to go investigate this bar just because of how much distance it traveled. Clearly an outside bar as well. So let's go to a 15. And what we were looking for on these is to see if there were actually any retests in this bar, right? Because it could create an imbalanced market. It would like to trade back down into this range, right, and fill out some of these orders that haven't been filled, whether it's a buy, a sell, whatever it may be. The market likes to be balanced. This is an auction after all, right? Now, just going back and investigating this bar here, we can see this little, I don't want to draw because my things are hidden right now, but this entire area is that daily bar. There was one retest or 1 point of consolidation, which happened here, right? For about 45 minutes. Actually, it's probably about 30 before the move happened. So very, very minimal retest. It just kept going and going and going. And it's no secret, this is where it bounced today. Kind of weird, huh? So let's talk about how we could have spotted this, right, from a different perspective, because this is how I actually looked at this on top of the way I just showed you guys. Now, this bar, right, from this line, right, all the way up, we're technically looking for this to retrace back into this little black line here, right? This daily high, as this is a fair value gap, okay? So remember, this should retrace back to this point, and I'll show you guys my drawings here in a second, but another point of this is that it also ties back into this weekly high. Now, a lot of people may say, oh, well, this is going through this line and it's bouncing around. That's actually not true. If we go to the weekly, take a look at the candle closes. Or price has been to places, right? But what's important where it closes because buyers or sellers are trying to get it over a certain point, below a certain point. So this is a weekly high, right? Presses through on this weekly. Candle closes above, right? Candle closes above. Candle closes above. Candle's defended for a low here. This is a very big spot for bulls to stay above. Don't you think they still want to try to keep above this 430 spot? So massive, massive spot. Let's go ahead and add a few more confluences to why we kind of like this area, right? I don't really use MAs a ton, but if we take a look, right, I might need to rewind it again. We go here. This is before the day I took the trade, right? 21's the red line, green is the 9, 50 is the blue, right? Huge spot, right? And we have this large volume candle here. 3 bars are starting to sell down on lower volume, so you would expect buyers to try to defend the 50 SMA and get back above, or it retests the fair value gap here, bounces, okay, and moves back into the 50 SMA. That was essentially my trade plan. And then one other thing that I wanted to show you guys, because I did have this marked as well, I ended up pulling this up in my Discord for everybody, is on these big candles like this, right? A lot of buyers aren't going to chase these, right? Because it's not being retested. It's very, very sketchy to be buying premium contracts like this when something is seemingly running and you're not getting pullbacks. So one of your best friends in this situation is to pull a fib from here, the high, to the low on the singular candle, especially for dailies. Remember, you guys can do fibs on any time frame. That's the beauty behind them. So we understand the 0.5 is now trading at a discounted price, and the 618 is kind of that sweet spot. You might not be able to see it, but the sweet spot here is 416, or I'm sorry, yeah, 416.44, and then discount is 420.56. There is no surprise as to where this bounced today, right? Let's go ahead and just play it out the day, or let's get rid of this really quickly so you guys can see it, where we ended up coming. And I swear I did all this in real time. I ended up seeing this kind of formulating in Discord. I was like, okay, this is going to squeeze. I didn't know till exactly what. I thought 435. We ended up going a little bit higher than that. But I want to show you guys where this bounced at, right? Look at the blue line. That's the 618 there, 416.44, right? I don't know why. Oh, yeah, because I was doing this for another video. I tried to record this a little bit earlier and I messed up. But yeah, 416.44, okay? And then if we take a look here, the imbalance or the fair value gap. Now, this is a huge thing on a Friday, right? A lot of people will try to snipe bottom on this, right? They'll see it come down, they'll see the 618, and they'll just take calls. We've all been there, right? It's failed and it's worked. But I wanted to be a little bit more safe on this and wait for confirmation, okay? So I noted that buyers had indeed held the 618. Awesome, right? We're starting to potentially see a shift in the sell pressure right here, maybe trend back up to those MAs or the EMAs. Now, what ended up happening is we ended up pushing back up. Let's go ahead and get rid of the fib now that you guys can see the 618. Let's go here really quickly to the extended hours. And this is pretty much all that I had marked, right? So pre-market low was a big spot for me. We obviously sold off under that level, okay? We caught our 618 bottom, and we're starting to trend back above the imbalance or the fair value gap at 419.40. Now, I don't want to just take calls. I could have definitely have taken calls here. But remember, this is just a consolidation. This is a fight. We get a press back up, okay? And I don't want to take calls into this because what is this, guys? If we don't, let's rewind this really quickly so you guys can see the replay. If you're a trader, and I have this marked for a reason. It used to be red, but we'll keep it as green for now. I'm sorry, it used to be red. Well, I have it as green here. Oh my god, I just confused myself. Anyways, so this should be red, okay? The reason this is red is this is the orb low, right? So the first 15-minute candle, the first 30-minute candle, whatever you guys want to do. A lot of different traders do different things. This would be essentially your intraday supply where sellers are going to be trying to defend, right? And then take a look at the volume here. This entire move up, does this not? And that's why I had this little black line here. It initially looked like this, right? Kind of like a bear flag. We'll make it shitty for now. Not really a big deal how that top trend looks, but it definitely looked like a bear flag, or maybe even if you guys drew intraday fibs, right? People do this too. You can go here. Does this not look like a retracement into the 618/low a day? Absolutely it does. That's why it's important to look at different time frames and understand that hourlies, dailies, weeklies take the priority over an intraday time frame. Always, 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 always. So I was looking for what, in my eyes, was going to happen was this was going to push up, okay? Let's do this really quickly. Push up, reject, and I wanted to see it come down here, buyers hold, and then us start to trend back out. Maybe get back above pre-market high or something like that and then start to trend. An ultimate target for me on this trade was 430, right? Something like that. Now, what ended up happening, was it perfect? By no means, no. But it did end up pushing down, right? Down to our level. This is key. And I always trade with a 4-panel setting, right? I have 5-minute, 15, hourly, daily. What does this end up doing? Right? We get our perfect retest now at 419.40. I know that buyers want to defend this. We're creating higher lows, right? Volume for a orb low short would have been much higher than this if sellers actually were in control, right? Closed in a hammer. This is where I actually took my first trade. So I ended up jumping into this, I think with about 20 contracts or so, kind of just getting my toes wet. I took 0 DTEs, of course. And this ended up pushing out, right? So first target on this is a breakthrough pre-market high, right? Or I'm sorry, pre-market low. Ideally, we get to high of day. And I was trying to look to maybe see if I could roll. If you guys know me, I don't like to carry one contract or one, I guess one strike all the way through. I'll take profits on one, keep runners, and then roll if I need to. If I see continuation, it's still a possibility. But remember, we had that 15-minute candle, closing a hammer. Let's watch how this ends up going. Boom. So making our way through our supply zone now, or blow. Awesome. We want to see it push into this pre-market, which it does. So I think I was about half or 3/4 out. And then what we end up getting is a rejection here. Okay. Now, I'm not freaking out because I understand, and this is why I had the screen, because I literally traded this not long ago, is you want to see this pull back down and at least hold this previous, I wouldn't call it a supply, but I would call it, an initial support, or initial support, right? Became a resistance, and now it's becoming support again. I want to see buyers hold this. So I'm looking for some kind of flag or some kind of indication that we're going to continue this higher low trend line. And these don't have to be perfect, guys. I know a lot of people wait for perfect trend line touches. World doesn't work like that. So I was looking for at least to hold this little green box, which is now should be a support, especially if sell pressure doesn't come in, right? And if, let's say, it got pretty bad and it started to move through my green zone, then I would maybe look at the trend line. But just understanding, right? We have a higher or a low, higher low, potential higher low here. Okay. And this is where I ended up doing something that I loved as well. Boom. What is this? Right? Sell pressure in this kind of flag formation is very, very low. We get a hammer, high volume, right off our trend line, right? Holding this support or this demand, whatever you want to call it. This is actually where I took my biggest position size, guys. So I think I had 5 contracts left, 10 contracts left of the 430s, which was my initial target at at this level here. I want to talk about this as well. I mean, all it really was the previous day low, right? And then I thought what we can get, and this is where I got the 435 level from. It was kind of a broad area. It was this low, right? Kind of tied in with this like liquidity that was sitting here from August 17th. I thought we can maybe push there, and I had like a flex target of 436.20, right, which is pre-market high. So those were my targets if anyone was curious on it. I know I had a couple people ask, like, oh, why did you choose 435? That had a very, very high amount of open interest, right, which could be good depending on who's in those contracts. You never know. But also, right, I just felt like we could travel and draw to this liquidity here, this previous higher low. But first target was 430, and then I was looking to trade in this spot. But yeah, we ended up getting a nice hammer here. Right, I ended up sizing in 100, 150 contracts. Something, it was pretty crazy. Usually I don't size in that much, but I was very confident in this trade at this point. And we ended up getting a pretty nasty breakout. Instantly, I was up about 40, 50%. Started to hold it, right? And then I cut about half here leading into high a day, right? Because this is always a tricky spot. Now, we got to treat this like an onion, right? And there's different layers that we have to get through. We cleared pre-market. Now we got to fight this high day level. So I was expecting, once again, maybe a pullback onto this high day level here. Terrible line, I know, but maybe push up to 430 that way. We want to see this pull down onto this spot here, right? This, wherever this little peak was, right around there. I can't get it perfectly. Right around there. It's kind of what I was looking for, right? Starts to consolidate. Doesn't even do that. Pushes right to 430. Just wanted to give you guys an idea of what I was potentially looking for and what I'm willing to stomach, okay? Was it maybe pulling back down to this wick, these candle closes here, and I would have held, obviously, and then risked losing a little bit of my gains to see if that was going to happen. But it ended up just consolidating here for a couple seconds, broke out. I shouldn't say seconds, a couple minutes. Broke out through this level. It hit target. At this point, I was about 70% out. Pulled back down onto high a day, right? And it's consolidating on high a day. So now, right, what should be our next target, right? Is we already hit this 430 spot. Ideally, we're going to be looking for it to trade into this spot up here. So that was pretty much the entire trade, guys. I literally held. It broke a little bit below. You guys can see the wick there. Never actually closed below. And it slowly progressed and just kept breaking through resistance and basing on it and then making a new high. And I held this thing all the way. I held it all the way to, I don't know the exact contract prices, but I held about 30% of my runners to 435 exactly for 1,000%. I closed my 430 calls right at 430. These probably would have been about 1,500%. But just an insane trade. Probably one of my best and most recent examples of holding a trade level to level without taking profits very, very quickly, especially after, coming off of days where it felt very uncertain to be a buyer. I just kind of stuck with my guns. I understood what was happening from a daily perspective, understood the structure of the chart, what was actually happening, right, and where buyers would step in. Remember, they don't want to be buying these crazy candles. They want to be buying at discounted prices. And a lot of good traders will wait for retests. We know what levels to buy. We want to buy good levels. So that was pretty much it. This was alerted in my Discord. Unfortunately, I didn't alert this little section down here, right where I ended up sizing in a ton. because I just felt like that was a little risky. I think contracts were 11 cents. So that was the only thing I didn't alert, but everything else walked everybody through. So one of the better trades that I've had this year, I would say. I haven't had 1,000%er yet, but yeah, awesome trade. I did take a Meta one as well. I'll review that one, but that will be for the Discord. That ended up being a win. And as you guys know on Twitter, I am swinging some coin calls. So that remains to be seen on how that will turn out. But I hope you guys enjoyed and learned a little bit of something here, and how obviously to handle those crazy daily candles, how to be patient for them, understanding the difference between discount and premium pricing, waiting for those discounted premium pricing, and then waiting on confirmations. Okay. So once again, hope you guys enjoyed. Enjoy your weekend, and I look forward to next week. Take care, guys.